A big hello to everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here on Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. Well, I am Nipasa Pradhan and welcome to Daily Immigration Dose. Well, before we start off, I have this important disclaimer, and that is by watching our videos, you understand that the information shared, including user comments, is not professional advice. Use it at your own risk. Our intention is never to offend, it's just a casual exchange of ideas. So, with that said, welcome once again, dearest friends, to Daily Immigration Dose with me and my co host Sam here. Hi, Sam.
Hi Napasa, how are you? It's so great to have you here again.
Same here, Sam. It's good to be back here on Daily Immigration Dose, which we have Monday to Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And folks out there, thank you so much for joining us. And please feel free to join us in this conversation. You can do so by dialing this number on the screen. The number is 425-436-6335. And when they ask for the access code, you just dial in 988-888. Just say hello after that. We'll be able to hear you and really happy. So I think without further ado, we should start off with today's discussion. And
Right.
before we start off with the discussion on today's topic, though, I got just one update, a news update, and I think let me just quickly get over that. So in a significant step towards improving US immigration system, two US senators have introduced new legislation aimed at reuniting immigrant families and addressing the backlogs in family-based immigration. So the Reuniting Families Act, introduced by Senators Mays K. Horono and Tammy Duckworth, seeks to promote family unity by removing barriers and creating more opportunities for immigration. So here's a closer look at the proposed changes. So on Wednesday, December 4th, 2024, US Senators Mays K. Hirono and Tammy Duckworth unveiled a bill to address critical issues the US immigration system. In the US immigration system, the Reuniting Families Act is designed to eliminate the backlog in family based immigration and increase the per country cap, which would allow more immigrants from countries like India, China, Mexico, and Philippines to receive family based visas. The bill also includes Senator Hirono's Filipino Veterans Family Reunification Act, aimed at expediting the visa processes for children of Filipino World War II veterans, a long overdue recognition for these veterans' families. So, in a statement, Senator Hirono, the only immigrant currently serving in the US Senate, said, as the only immigrant currently serving in the United States Senate, I am proud to introduce the Reuniting Families Act to update our country's family immigration system and promote family unity. So, the legislation addresses several key concerns: recapturing unused visas from previous years, giving more opportunities for family reunification, and exempting close relatives from visa caps, including spouses, children under 21, certain parents of legal permanent residents, raising the per country family immigration cap, which would benefit countries with high numbers of applicants like for India and China, protecting children from aging out after turning 21, ensuring that young people don't lose their place in the immigration process, and also addressing discrimination against LGBTQ plus families, ensuring equal treatment for same sex couples. Senator Duckworth Senator Duckworth expressed frustration with the current immigration system, stating, our country's broken immigration system is riddled with unnecessary barriers that have created backlogs and kept families apart for years. So the bill has garnered support from various advocacy groups. The Asian American Advancing Justice Organization emphasized the urgent need to reform, calling the current system outdated and broken. So they applauded the bill as a step toward modernizing family based immigration policies. And Todd Schluter, president of FWD, echoed these sentiments, praising the bill's focus on eliminating bureaucratic delays and the harsh immigration bars that separate families. So organizations like Sikh American Legal Defense and Education Fund, the SALDF, also voiced their support, stressing the importance of keeping families united and combating negative stereotypes about immigrants. So, to conclude, the Reuniting Families Act could be a turning point for millions of families out there facing long waiting times for reunification. The bill promises not only to address immediate issues, but to set the stage, for broader immigration reform in the future. So, yes, I think we will dive deeper into this as we discuss further. And over to you, Sam, if you have more updates.
Yeah, thank you so much, Napasa. And that news update was very, very important for today's topic. So, all right, friends, I also have some news updates that I would like to read it out. So, firstly, we will talk about US immigration crackdown faces some challenges. So, as Republicans push for a major revamp of US immigration laws, there are some significant hurdles in both the House and the Senate as well. So, GOP hardliners aim to implement stricter asylum policies and build the border wall. But the internal party actually divides, and a narrow majority in the House may complicate efforts. Moving ahead with next news, that is record migrant encounters at US border. So, US Customs and Border Protection reports a record number of migrant encounters in December 2024. Despite a 50% decrease in encounters between ports of entries in January 2024, the shift in migrant origins, including increasing numbers from China and Africa, reflects a changing dynamic at the border. Next news is of New Zealand. So, New Zealand announces immigration reforms. New Zealand is overhauling its immigration policies to attract skilled workers, with changes focusing on faster processing times and also greater support for businesses. So, this follows years of labor shortages in various sectors, including healthcare and construction. UK also struggles with migration system overload. So the UK, that is United Kingdom, faces an ongoing crisis within its immigration system, with reports of a significant backlog in asylum applications and delays in processing visas. The government has pledged reforms, but critics also argue that the system remains overwhelmed. So I think that's all from my side, also Napasa, and I think that's done, by understanding some major news updates regarding immigration around the world. And I think now we should talk directly about today's topic, that is, US senators call the immigration system broken. Is it really? So, yeah, friends, recently many US senators have called the country's immigration system as broken. So, with long waits for visa approvals, confusing rules and constant political debates, I think many people feel that the system is outdated and not working well. But in today's session, we are going to find out that is it really broken or it's just struggling to keep up with the changing needs of immigrants and the country. So, Napasa, I think in today's discussion, we should explore the main issues with the immigration process and also how they affect both immigrants and the US as whole. All right. So, I think that's a background that I have given of today's topic. And anything else that you would like to give an intro on this topic?
Well, already we have discussed. We had the news update, and I think that was very crucial for
Mhm.
us to start with because it just happened recently. And it's true, like, we also have comments. So I think I'll just quickly say hello. So, hi to Dia and Virginia. Thank you for joining us on YouTube. And I think we should just take them up. Dia, okay, Virginia is saying, how soon can you file for green card after T visa approval in US? Well, Virginia, thank you for your question. Very, very important. We can sure take up your question to one of our attorneys in our shows, which we have, and you can also, in fact, just write to me if my email address is nipa@staffingly.com, and that's where you can tell us about your case or what you want to know, and that way we will be able to address your issue to the concerned attorneys. And you can also call me up on this number or WhatsApp me. My phone number is 408-335-6444, and it'll be good to know. Thank you so much, Virginia. But yes, today's discussion is on this topic. US senators call the immigration system broken. So is it really?
Yeah.
That's what we are going to discuss. And if, Virginia, you have anything to say with regard to this topic, it'll be good to know.
We have different comment also from Dia. So Dia is saying that I keep hearing that the US immigration system is broken, but what exactly makes it broken from a legal perspective? Can you break down the biggest issues? I think, yeah, Dia, I would like to say that, stay connected. We are definitely going to, as this is just a beginning of our today's session. So we are going to explore so much on today's session about, obviously, about the legal perspective and the biggest issues, and also what are the frauds and scams that's taking place behind broken immigration system. So yeah, I think let's begin. And I would also like to say that many experts, lawmakers, and advocates actually agree that U.S. immigration system is broken because of several reasons like long wait times, outdated law, then visa problems, and even cases of fraud and scams that we are going to highlight. So let's break it down to understand the main issue. Firstly, I would like to mention about long wait time. So, yes, long wait time. Firstly, about the backlogs. So we all know that there's a huge number of backlogs, especially in countries like India and China. So there are over 7 million visa and green card applications that are stuck in the system. So some people wait years, even decades, for just to have that approval. And for example, workers from India, they wait more than 10 years just to get a green card because of country caps. And also, if we look upon asylum cases, then there are over 2 million asylum cases that are pending right now. So this we can see that how long the journey is and how much time it's going to take. Even the applicants, they need to wait for more than 10 years to get a green card. So, and even for the asylum, there are over 2 million asylum seekers who are actually trying to have their cases, but it's still pending. And asylum seekers are waiting over 4 years before their case is even heard. So, this is a major long term, this is a major duration that we can see in this immigration system. So I think this is a very major issue that why I think the US senators are calling that immigration system is broken. So this is the reason. And also, Nepasa, I would like to continue with you. Other reason or the other biggest issue that you would like to share with our viewers why the immigration system is broken. Please go ahead.
US senators, they have been frustrated for quite a long time. I mean, it's not just now. They've been addressing this over and over, and they've been saying that the immigration system is broken. And yes, they are once again sounding the alarm on the country's immigration system, calling it calling it fundamentally broken.
Mhm.
But yes, decades of attempts to reform immigration policy have faltered, leaving millions affected by outdated laws, lengthy backlogs, and political gridlock. So, yes, like you've already mentioned a few reasons, I'm also going to mention a few. So, to address some of them, outdated laws and policies. The last significant immigration reform was in the year 1986, and look how far we've come since then under the Immigration Reform and Control Act, IRCA. So the laws has the laws no longer reflect current economic, social, or even technological realities. So whether it is the growing need of skilled labor in tech and healthcare industries, the system remains rigid, in accommodating the dynamic needs of the workforce. And it's the 21st century now, and we have advanced so much since 1986. Things have changed drastically. And even in our conversation earlier with attorney Chand Pravathaneni, he also said that, especially with regard to technology, everything is dynamic, it's changing every time, and we have to be able to adapt and change accordingly as well.
Right.
And yeah, also, excessive visa backlogs. So millions of immigrants face lengthy waits for family-based or even employment-based green cards due to annual visa caps, and some applicants, especially from countries like India and China, like you mentioned earlier, Sam. So we all, India and China, they've been facing decades-long delays,
Mm.
and this is a very, very critical situation for many out there, affecting rendering legal immigration, unattainable for many, in fact. And then we also have inadequate legal pathways. So the current system does not offer sufficient legal avenues, for many types of immigrants, including asylum seekers, undocumented immigrants who have lived in the US for decades now, by the way, or those in temporary statuses seeking permanent residency. So this forces people into illegal channels, further, straining the system.
Yeah.
And we have been seeing a lot of this in the news, and they have been facing so much problem. But all of this because the law is a little, not a little, it's a little too outdated. So yes. And Sam, if you have any more, you can go
Yeah,
ahead and maybe I
sure.
can add in a few
So
later.
yeah, Napasa, you mentioned, I mean, obviously you mentioned it in detail, and I think that's completely, we got the idea how it is and what are the major issues. But there are also certain issues. Like, firstly, I would like to mention about visa issues. So visa issues are, I would like to capture firstly the H-1B visa. This is the major visa that, most of the skilled workers has major problems. So this actually what happens that companies need more workers than the system actually allows. For example, the visas are actually 85,000 visas are available, but hundreds of thousands apply each year. So we can see a major change, the visas that are being available and the visas that are being applied. So this actually, company misuses this system. They actually hire cheaper foreign labor instead of US workers because 85,000 visas are available. So you can't, hire more than this. But they actually misuse the system and they hire cheaper foreign labor instead of US workers. And this also led to, fraud and scams. And if we talk about H-1B visa frauds, then there are some companies who offer fake job positions to immigrants, and then they promise them that we are going to give you this H-1B visa, so this much money you have to pay for this. And they charge basically huge fees only for the immigrants to arrive and discover that there is no job waiting for them. So this is such a huge scam, that's going around, and H-1B visa applicants are literally facing this, and they are going with a big loss. They are paying huge money, and then they discover that it's not actually how they were thinking of. And moving ahead, if we also talk about L1 visa, then this visa lets companies transfer employees to the US, but vague rules about specialized knowledge leads to abuse. So companies sometimes pay foreign workers less, taking advantage of this visa so that to avoid the stricter H-1B visa rules. So there are different scams also. If I'm not talking only about H-1 visa or L-1 visa, then also F-1 visa, especially the student visa scams. So there are so many fake universities and some fraudulent institution exist only on paper and don't provide real education. So, Nabasa, we can see that there are so many frauds and scams that's happening, and I think these all are happening because now what we expected immigration system to be, now it's not that. It's almost broken, and this has been said by most of the experts too. So, I think yeah, I think we should talk about this, and also I would like to mention some other frauds as well, that there is also marriage fraud. So most of the people they exploit this by basically marriage-based green cards are a legitimate way of foreign nationals to gain U.S. residency. So some individuals exploit this path by entering into fake marriages, and that is like sham marriages. A U.S. citizen and a foreign national agree to marry with the sole purpose of obtaining a green card for the foreign spouse. So I don't know whether this is funny or what, but they are just getting married only for the sake of getting permanent residency. So these marriages are often done in exchange only for the sake of money, but with no real intention of building. marriage life together. It's just the purpose behind that they just need to have a permanent residency, and that's why they are getting married. So I don't know how to say this, but this is a scam, a very big scam that's happening around, immigration system. And also, how can we forget visa lottery fraud? So, visa lottery fraud, actually, the diversity visa lottery offers 50,000 green cards to individuals. And unfortunately, the program is, ripe for exploitation. So, scammers, what they do, they actually pose as immigration agents or attorneys and charge immigrants to enter the free visa lottery. Now, this is another scam that's happening about visa lottery fraud. So, most of the immigrants they get entrapped into this and they lose money, they lose their mental peace, and obviously their time because the scammers they try to depict themselves as immigration agents, as attorneys, and then how the immigrants just being in that desperation to have the permanent residency in their hand, they lose their money, and not only money, their mental peace too. And those scammers they promise better chances of winning, but often steal some personal information or demand payment after the victim wins. So I think, Napasa, it's not just about how the immigration system broke, but it's also about what are the consequences we are getting from these broken immigration system. We are facing so much frauds and exploitation, and how immigrants are actually suffering, right? So I think these are the things that's very important to show in front of people, and also to let everyone knows that what are the different frauds and how immigrants are being used, how immigrants are being exploited. So, but also, Napas, I would like to know it from you that whom would you like? I don't say that blame, but how do you think that what can be the reasons, or what is the main reason behind of this broken immigration system?
Well, we already touched upon how outdated it is, and I would like to really, look back and at the 1986 reforms
Mhm.
and the subsequent immigration efforts. So there was amnesty amnesty provision granted legal status to nearly 3 million undocumented immigrants who entered the US before 1982. So this aimed at reducing the undocumented population and integrating immigrants into society. And then there was employer sanctions, made it illegal to knowingly hire undocumented workers. Introduced the I-9 employment verification system. Then there were also border control measures, increased funding for border security to prevent future illegal immigration. And there was also seasonal worker program, addressed labor shortages in agriculture by expanding the H-2A visa program. And some of the reasons why these subsequent efforts have failed is because there have been inadequate enforcement post 1986. Employers found loopholes in the system, enforcement of employer sanctions was weak, and there was also polarization, on immigration, sharp division between those advocating for stricter enforcement and those supporting more lenient, humane efforts. Hardline stances often led to gridlock, and there was also mistrust from previous reforms. Critics argued that amnesty provisions in 1986 incentivized further illegal immigration, and this created resistance to similar approaches in later reforms. Talk about trust. I mean, earlier, definitely there was a lot of trust between people, I think, and that is why they didn't face too many issues. Of course, you spoke about scams, and if we look at so many news in the past couple of decades, or especially this decade itself, or the past couple of years, we have seen, the immigrants who were allowed to come into the US also exploited the whole, their by making scams like what you had mentioned, bringing in more people, human trafficking with regard to jobs, telling people that they have jobs available for them, and people believing them and going in again. But all of these things have changed drastically. When you look at 1986, or I mean, during that time, there was a lot of trust between people, but now things have changed. I think it's very hard to trust people, or anyone for that matter, right?
Yeah, it is. But now the thing is also that it also depends upon the government, right? How they handle things. And I don't know that how it was exactly earlier, but now it's something that most of the people, they are misusing it. They are
Mhm.
just trying to pick those immigrants who are trying so hard to get a green card in their hand, and they are just picking those innocent people, and then they are just having, I mean, those fraudulent activities. So I think this is not going anywhere. If you are trying so hard to live a life in US, and that too with so much struggles, I mean, struggles, that's okay, that's a very positive term, but if you are going through so much scams and so much frauds, then I don't think that that's worth it, right? You should, I mean, that's okay. You can be in a country, you can have a good reputation, you can earn well. But if instead of having, so much money and having that life, if you're going through so much, then I don't think that that's worth it. I would like to say that that's my point of view.
Well, yes, talk about US immigration system is failing, and we've heard this over and over. And there are so many other reasons also. We spoke about the outdated system, lack of, and also there's lack of flexibility. The system cannot adapt quickly to changing labor market needs or even global crisis for that matter. High demand of tech workers contrast with insufficient H-1B caps. That's another reason. And I think that is why these senators are coming up with these bills, where they're saying that you really need to change all of these outdated law. That's
Right.
the existing law, that is.
Absolutely, that's how. And I think another reason I would also like to mention, that is the undocumented immigrants. So you also mentioned Nepalsa, but here's also a thing that there were 11 million undocumented immigrants in the US, and most of whom contribute to the economy too. But there are
Right.
also undocumented too. So we can't justify them because that's also wrong. But there's no clear or practical path for them to get legal status right now, also. And programs like DACA, that is Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, give temporary relief to immigrants brought as children. But I think it's constantly challenged in court and leaving hundreds of thousands in limbo. So I think this is also a reason, right, that why immigration is actually breaking. And I don't know it's broken or not, but it's in that path. And also, if we talk about, the immigration courts are overloaded too. So there are, I think, 600 immigration judges right now, but they are overburdened with 2 million cases. So this is something, we can see a huge difference between the numbers. The judges are 600 and the cases are 2 million. So this caused a long wait time for people who are obviously trying to resolve their cases, resolve their immigration status. But this also keeps on, changing days, and this is also keeps on having a very long duration, a very long wait, and in fact, many cases takes more than 4 years to be decided. So this is also a reason that already we mentioned about like long time process. So it's not only about visa, long time process for visa, but it's also about long time process for immigration courts also, because it's a completely different thing. So I think this is also a system, because if there will be more judges, what do you think, Napasa? That is this okay? That if there will be more judges as compared to the cases, then it might be that the time may take a little less time for immigrants to uh, resolve their immigration status.
I think so, yes. But currently, what we are lacking is pathways, So, like you said about the undocumented immigrants as well. But for even the all of the other immigrants under various different visas, so there have been lack of pathways. The system provides very limited pathways for these individuals, to legal, whether it's if it's undocumented, I mean immigrants,
Mhm.
they have very limited pathways to legalize their status, even if they have been US citizen family members, or even contribute to the economy. So
Right.
definitely we really need a big change for the immigration system to function better today. These old laws are definitely not helping out as much.
But it's not only about the government. We can't just completely rely on government's rule. It's also about the people, because earlier people didn't used to misuse most of the immigration system, immigration policies. But now we can see a lots of scams that's going around the world. Not only in US but everywhere. So I think it also depends upon the people, about the immigrants too. How they are also taking it. So I think that's a very major problem that we should also talk about, because we have been went through so many cases how what the fraudulent activities are happening nowadays, especially regarding immigrants. And it's very sad to know that immigrants themselves, they are only complaining, then they are only participating in those fraudulent activities. So it's like whom to blame and whom to not, who should take the initiative in progressing the immigrant system. So
See,
I
of course, not all are the same, but because of few of the immigrants, or some of them who have been doing all of, I mean, why blame all of them? So
absolutely.
that is what is happening, and it's because of these things that we are facing a lot of trust issues. I mean,
Mhm.
immigrants are facing a lot of trust issues.
That's completely agree. They are facing, but also I think there are some different issues also, that why people are becoming, and because of these things only people are becoming anti-immigrant. Maybe there can be other reasons too that immigrants are facing, but obviously if the native people, those who are living there, if they'll get to know that immigrants are behaving in such a way, or if they are involved in such a fraudulent activities, then obviously they won't like it, and they will try their level best to throw them out of that particular
Well, I
country.
don't support fraudulent activities in any way. It's bad, it's illegal, it's fraud, and fraudulent activities do need to be, how to say, taken seriously, and they have to be shut down, and that is what is happening, because there is a lot of scrutiny now, and immigrants are watched with a lot more scrutiny than much than before,
Mhm.
so, and fraudulent activities, whether it is by an immigrant or by an American citizen or by a Native American, it is fraudulent, no matter who the person is, and nobody can be, with it. Everybody have to be against these kinds of activities.
Absolutely. But also, Napasa, do you think that, all right, so these problems are happening, and obviously anyone has to take the initiative. But do you also think that if now we are going to see stricter immigration rules, then we can expect less fraudulent activities, or we can expect immigration system to be better? What do you think? If there will be some stricter immigration rules, do you think it's going to benefit?
Yes, I think so. I mean, depending on what rules will they be, but the outdated law definitely needs to be changed, keeping in mind the dynamic changes that happens every day. It's whether with regard to labor market, the economy, and even technology for that matter.
Right. Because now, if we talk about, if we take, okay, fine, let's talk about stricter immigration system. So if we are going to expect, then I think there are also different policies that are good, but they are also having some certain kind of challenges too. For example, major H-1B visa, the visa that most of the skilled workers are highly demanding. So I think companies, they need more workers than the system allows. So this itself
Yes.
is a very, I would say, confusing or a difficult challenge, that people are literally facing it, because it's 85,000 visas that are available, but now I think hundreds of or thousands of applicants are there who are trying to apply. So this itself shows that how much people are desperate. And obviously, if we can see that, instead of 85,000 people, if thousands of people are trying to apply in this particular visa, then obviously the scammers or the fraudulent activators are going to take advantage of them. So I think this can also be the reason, right? And if we talk about stricter immigration rules, then we can just expect how it's going to be. And I think if we can see stricter immigration rule, then I think there will be some kind of limitation to frauds or exploitation. That's what I think.
Absolutely.
I
Yes,
think
Hi,
that's.
yes.
Sam and Apasa.
Hi,
Hi,
Rajni.
Rajni.
Hi. So I want to know your take on the lottery system, the H-1B lottery system. You, both of you already know that the US has H-1B lottery system, right? Where, I mean, they allow people to participate in the lottery system, and the H-1B lottery system, it is a special system, that lets companies in the United States hire workers from other countries, that the jobs that need special skills like doctors or engineers or say computer programmers, right? But then lottery is something, it itself says that it depends upon the luck, because the
Luck,
lottery
right?
is very random, right? So
Yes.
it means that it is based on luck instead of how good someone is at their job. So a very talented person, might not get picked just because their name was not in the lottery.
Right.
And while someone less qualified could get chosen, right?
Absolutely.
So what do you think? Don't you think this is one big loophole in the US I mean immigration system, this lottery system? What do you think about this? What do you have to say?
Yeah, I think it is, that you mentioned, we completely agree to this. And it's very obvious because someone is choosing someone, a worker based on, not based on skills, but based on the luck. So I think this itself means a quite unfair kind of thing because they are not getting the opportunity to showcase their talent, to showcase their skills. And I think that's very important for any employer too. It's not only will be dangerous for the workers but also dangerous for that company, because that company is only going to pick random employees, so they also don't know how to trust them, whether that employee that has been picked through visa lottery system is going to benefit or may harm the company. So I think this is a very dicey situation. This may happen in a good way, this may happen in a very bad way. So this is something that I think needs to
Be checked, or
reject.
maybe, yeah. What do you think, Nipasa? Do you think lottery system, maybe some people, because some people like the astrologers also say that some people have really good luck and good fortune, are blessed with good fortune, right? And some people are not good, so much good with their luck. So do you think that luck should be a deciding factor when, you want to actually move abroad for the betterment of your life or maybe the betterment of your career? Do you think luck should play a factor in it, or do you think skills or your talent or your hard work what should be something that should decide what the future of your life, what the life holds for you?
Well, of course, the randomness, undermines the system's goal because instead of maybe attracting the best global talent, but then I think it could leave some people, especially candidates or even employers, frustrated because they may not be able to catch hold of some of the best just because of luck. But then talk about astrologers and all that. I think, I don't know if you believe, but if your stars are not aligned, then it may not happen at all. Whether you're,
Yeah.
yeah, even if you are, well,
No,
talk
that's
about.
that's really true because even if you're working so hard and you're a brilliant in your work, you're expert in your work, but still if your stars are not matching, then their luck plays only I think 4 to 5% of your life. But that 4 to 5% is so important. If that doesn't work, then I think doesn't matter how much hardworking you are or
Yeah.
how much uh, level of hard work you did. So I think that
Sam,
also.
I think you should talk to the lucky ones who say that luck is 80% and hard work is 20%, because that's what some people also believe, right? And this is how I think this is something that the US system or US immigration system also agrees to. Otherwise, why would they have such a system where people's life depend on their luck? And if they're lucky enough, they'll be getting picked. And if they're not lucky enough, or maybe they want to promote their astrologers, who knows, right? But
Yeah.
and what do you think? I mean, okay, H-1B lottery system has one big loophole. But what do you think about this F1 visa system? Because F1 visa, because what happens is F1 visa holders, the students, they move abroad and then they are not allowed to work off campus without proper authorization, right? And then some students, what they do is they work illegally and then they accept cash payments for freelance work, and they think that they will get away with it. But what do you think?
I
That
think
should this be allowed?
No, I think, I mean, it's always best to, abide by the rules wherever
Hmm.
you are. I mean, you have to know the rules by heart, especially if you don't belong there. You have to follow, the rules. And yeah, if you cannot work, you cannot work. If you cannot earn, I mean, if you shouldn't earn, you shouldn't be doing that. And it is like cheating. If you are cheating, you are one day or the other going to be caught, and you have to face the consequences.
Right.
Yes, absolutely. And Sam, what do you think? Do you think that the F1's visa system should allow something like this, where the students are not allowed to work off campus, but then after that you become a student, then you also want to earn some money, right? And then if you're not allowed to work off campus, then you are left with no choice other than going out and working off campus and then accepting payments in cash, and then which can sometimes if you're caught, then it can also lead for you, I mean, it can also lead to your deportation. It's
Mhm.
very, very risky, right? So, what do you think about this?
See, it is risky, obviously, but I'm not able to figure it out that whether this rule is correct or whether this rule is not correct. Because, see, it depends upon that country, how that country wants, how much permission they want to grant to the students who are coming outside the country. So I think this rule, I don't know whether this rule is harming or whether this rule is benefiting, but some or the other, there are rules which you have to follow. You can't do anything with that. If that country is allowing you to study for 2 years or 3 years or what so years it may be, then I think if that country is also allowing you to not to work off campus, then that's how we have to do. Other than that, I think there's no other information that I can share on this. But that's how we have to follow the rules. And obviously the students, they want to work in that particular country, but if that would be the case, then I think this would be also hectic for Americans too, because there will be so many people, there will be a huge crowd. So I think that's why different categories of visas are made, so that nobody should misuse it. Because most of the people, most of the immigrants, what they do, they come by F1 students, F1 visa, and then they extend their visa. So most of the immigrants, they stay there, and without legal status. So that's how they also misuse it. So I think that shouldn't be, because that's some on the other harming themselves only, and obviously the country too. So that is the thing that they should follow. If they want to work, then go ahead, wait for H1B visa and apply and go systematically. I think that's how it should be, right?
Right, I think
Exactly.
very well put and very well said, Sam. I think uh, if you are because if you are obtaining F1 visa, then you should be having enough financial support to study in the US, right? Then
Yes.
yeah, but then so what some students are doing is they are submitting fake financial documents, or they are submitting fake financial documents of the funds that are generally not available to them. Maybe some, for example, they can show some bank statements from relatives without actually having the access to those funds. And then right, and then they come to the US, they study there, and then they want to work to earn some money, and then they are not allowed to work off campus, and then they go out and work off campus, which is very risky. So I think this, somewhere or the other, this also has a loophole. So the system should also keep an eye, or maybe keep a check on this, and maybe work. towards fixing this problem also? What do you think,
Yeah.
Nabasa? Right?
Well, till the laws are changed, I think we just have to stick by the laws, no matter what it is. You can't work because there is nothing called paid internships as well under L1, right? So you can't means you can't. So I think you just have to accept that. And if you don't want to ever be caught, I mean, see, even here comes luck, right? What if you get unlucky and you're caught? Then you will have to forget being in the US. You're surely going to have to pay for whatever you did. So why take that chance? Follow the rules, stay by the rules, don't go against the rules, don't do any kind of fraudulent activities, don't try your luck to try to cheat and earn, you know.
You may be lucky enough to get into the US, but you might not be lucky enough to stay there.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow, what a line, right?
Yeah, that's a very big
That's a,
statement.
yeah, that, it can become a quote.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, that's
so
what
I think,
people think that
uh-huh.
now maybe this visa they entered into the US, now they are going to continue this, and even if they continue staying longer with illegal status.
Mhm.
So these are the things that people have in their mind. Now I have been here for 2 years. Now let's continue. Nobody is going to know. So these are the things how people. I mean, how the immigration system is being exploited, how the immigration system is breaking. So I think we all
Right.
need to
I
talk
think,
about it. Yeah.
yeah, we definitely have to think about it, and the systems has to do something about it to fix it, because of course this is not something that can be overlooked. But I think ZQ is here, who has joined us. Hi,
Oh,
ZQ, can you hear us?
Hey, hi.
Hi.
Hi,
Um,
ZQ.
Hi, ZQ, how are
I
you?
was actually following one of your shows, and
Hmm.
I think I don't remember who it was. Maybe that lady in the pink shirt. I think, yeah, Sam. I think, right.
oh yeah.
Uh, right.
Uh-huh.
Hi. Sorry, forgot your name.
Hi,
So I
Z.
think she or maybe Nipasa, maybe
Mm-hmm.
they were discussing with about an attorney, and the attorney had said that, like, when you file your documents with the with the council or the consulate or with USCIS or wherever, there was this one article that they had spoken about. There was about a 500-page dossier, a 500-page application, and there were instructions that USCIS had given that you cannot actually use paper clips, you cannot use staplers, no bindings or anything. So what had happened was that they were asking about this person who had actually faced that problem, and what had inevitably possibly had happened was that that person's papers were lost. Okay, 500-page application was totally lost, and it was all because of there are rules that you cannot use paper clips, you cannot use binders or things like that. So it's a 500-page application with lots of uh, documents here and there, and it might be inevitable that papers will be lost. So, but USCIS goes on to probably say that um, we have lost your documents. You have to resubmit the document again. You have to resubmit uh, all your entire application, and for that, we are putting you for an RFE, request for further evidence. So, what's your take on this? It's like, isn't this, sorry if I may say it, Atlas, like, isn't this just complete incompetence on their behalf, on their side? It's like one simple stapler pin could actually bound that entire 500-page document, but they said that no, we don't want any pins or binders in it. So, an entire application, yeah, and I'm sure you've all seen that, like their application forms that they have lots of pages in it. 500-page application might be quite long, but minimum they have about 10, 15 pages to it. So papers are bound to be lost. So this, don't you think that this falls entirely starting from point A, that okay, I'm starting my application process, but I'm not allowed to staple my papers together. how else are you going to give it? It's like, what's your thought on this? I just want to know.
I think I can say like it would always be safe, especially if it is like, I mean, these are very important documents, right? To always make maybe another copy or multiple copies if possible, keep one with you. And another is maybe, this is why we have experts or attorneys, who can guide you. They will tell you exactly what to do and in which way. And if it's no paper clips, they will also know that for sure, right? So I think it's always best to have an attorney
Yeah,
for your
definitely.
case.
Yeah, definitely. That is there. But like coming to your point about your topic, the U.S. senators, they
Maybe
have.
ZQ, how
Yeah,
about using the file with transparent pockets? That can be also helpful.
I don't know. It's
I
transfer
mean, if they
pockets.
have the problems with the clips and threads or stapling them, how
I
about,
I had
buy a
applied.
file which
I
has
had
transparent pockets
No, no,
and
no.
use
I had
those?
applied once. I had applied once. They have a special kind of a binder, kind of like an envelope actually. So this has a kind of like a button to it and a piece of string to it. So you put all your documents in that. But sometimes you can't get that envelope in my country. So you have to actually order that envelope from abroad. So, it's. I was just like sort of reminiscing about this when uh, your hosts were actually talking about brought up
Okay.
that article. So I was like, a simple paper clip is not going to do much harm or anything, or it's not going to. I don't
But
know.
it did, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the harm fell possibly on the applicant side. USCIS lost the papers, and I'm sure this is the reason why. It's Is this a thing in every country? I mean, it's like government officials, government firms, they are so negligent about their duties. Oh, you submitted this paper, okay, we'll look into it. They look into it and they go on a tea break or something, and
Well, with government and policies,
they just possibly disregard the duties in all in all aspects. Don't you think?
Ziki, honestly, with government and their policies, we can't really comment because, sometimes they are,
Right.
sometimes it actually is um, to the point and sounds very correct and very right. But sometimes it sounds so weird and not, it doesn't make any sense. But then because it is said by the government and it is said by the law, we have to follow it, whether we believe it or not, right? So if they say that you don't have to use the paper clips or the stapling, I mean, what can be done? We'll have to avoid that, right?
Definitely. I think,
Yeah,
before we do anything, it's always very important to do proper research. I mean, follow
Right.
exactly what is said because otherwise, there are so many chances for it being denied, rejected, or getting an RFE and so on and so forth. All these problems should be avoided as much as possible. And for all of that, I think a proper research and having a the how to say an expert like an attorney guide you would be best.
No, no,
yeah,
absolutely.
Right. But
yeah.
I also think that obviously one needs to have a proper and thorough research. But even, if we talk as ZQ mentioned about the paperclip, so this is something that obviously we all will think that let it go. Even if we also don't have that paperclip, then I don't think that USCIS government will have any problem with that. So we ourselves also try to neglect these points because we think that it's just a paperclip, so no harm is going to do with that. But that's how it's important, obviously, because
And yeah,
everyone is trying to, I think, they neglect these very small instructions that's been provided, and they think that it's not going to do any harm, but see how it's turning out to be only for the paperclip. And what reason that immigrant applicant is going to share that only for the paperclip he hasn't you know lived what he wanted to. So I think
Yeah,
that's also
yeah,
something.
yeah, right. And of course, and I think if they have considered and picked such a, this very, very, very small thing, which usually, we don't even think about. So I'm pretty sure they must have thought it through, and they must have done research about this, and only then they must have come up with such a thing. Otherwise, I don't think so. I mean, otherwise, why would they come up with such a thing, which sounds so weird, right,
If,
to
if I
us?
if I may, uh,
Mhm.
But yes, coming back to ZQ's point about government officers or officers, I think it would be very individualistic, because not every person working in any office is the same, and would also depend on the mood that day of the government officer, I guess. We see so many,
Yeah.
conversations where the consulate officer was probably moody, and they just asked one questions, or they asked 10 questions, and I mean, all of these things also have to be considered.
yeah.
That we can see in
Yeah.
every government office how frustrated they are.
Yes.
Well,
But
we should
again,
not
like you
say
said, it's
that,
very
guys.
individual.
I mean, because everyone has bad days, right? Even we do.
Yes.
We do too.
Yes.
So, yeah. And also they are dealing with so many of them, right? So
Yes.
many. Every now and then they have so many people waiting in line to get their visa approved, and so many things happen in the same day. And people come, give their interviews, lie in front of them bluntly, and try to get their visa approved. So they will have to be very, very careful and very, very cautious, because they are responsible for somebody who is actually entering the country,
Right.
right? So of course they will have to be very, very cautious, and if they are
And they
coming,
will have to be responsible for that
very
person's.
responsible, right?
Yeah. Yes, because if something happens after they
It will
give
be a stake
permission.
on their career, right?
Yes.
That's completely agreed.
But
But
yes,
I
ZQ, you
think,
were saying something. Yeah.
I think, um, as Nipasa ma'am was saying, was during the 80s, she had taken up a date, a year actually, in the 85, 86. I'd also like to take up a date during that time, in the 90s, and maybe during the early 60s at that time. People were still immigrating. Okay. America is a melting pot of different kind of people from different walks of life, from different countries, different races. But I think after 1999, after 2000s, since the beginning of the 21st century, and I don't want to name some events or anything, but due to some certain events, uh, violent events that had happened in America, caused by different nations from outside, they became more cautious. They are now much more wary, much more careful about who to admit and who to exclude from their entire immigration list. If that falls into the safety and security of the nation, safety and security of its people, of the US people, yeah, one paperclip might be the defining factor between uh, an immigration officer's security, immigration officer's anything, while they are behind that glass window. Okay, that single paperclip might be a defining factor. So they don't even allow mobile phones or anything of that sort while you're actually walking into the booth. Okay, even like not even the booth, even while you're trying to enter, going into the consulate. Okay, so security is of the utmost matter here. And that's the thing, since the time you enter the consulate, and all the way when you enter the airport, you're boarding the plane, getting off the plane, you're checking out, you're disembarking, everywhere. America has lots of security issues. Okay, and it's rightful for them, because
That's why Trump is back.
yeah, I personally think maybe it's the better of two evils, if I may, because you need a strong firm hand to actually lead this country. Okay,
Uh-huh.
if whatever had happened in in 2021, and the January 6th event and everything, blah blah blah, and all of that, maybe he has matured. Maybe he has understood some of those things, and maybe the American people have actually put him into this position because um, inflation is all over the world, and in America, it is still also a defining factor. And I had heard, like, I do follow your show from time to time, and one of your attorneys, I think, what was her name? Madam Prashanti, help me out here.
Prashanti Reddy.
Shanti
Oh,
Reddy.
Prashanti Reddy. Yeah, yeah, Prashanti Reddy. Yeah, she had once mentioned that. What was that? Yeah, the price of eggs and milk is so high in America that it's like, and this was during the Biden administration, during the Democratic era. Like, this was much higher than before Obama's administration. So inflation has really hitting everything. And if Trump says that, and if he promises, yeah, well, politicians, them promising anything, they're going to take that with a pinch of salt. If Trump promises that he's going to cut back on this inflation thing and everything, cut down prices, yeah, well, Bob's your uncle. if if it all works out, then it works out.
But do
And
you think, ZQ, that Trump actually delivers more than what he promises?
now it all depends upon what we have to see what he's gonna do.
No, I mean, I'm talking about his first term. What do you think? Like, looking back at his first term, do you think he had delivered more than what he promised, or do you think he didn't?
He didn't, because if he did, then the entire thing of such a terrible thing of what had happened on January 6th and the storming of the Capitol, a lot of things were somewhat in his favor. Okay, and also during that time, COVID was on, and his actions against COVID were not entirely proper. Um, he had actually not followed into suit, actually trying to follow the rules that were set out by WHO. Okay, simple things like wearing masks, putting on gloves, those things. Like the entire COVID mandate, I don't know, like, but it all is being left to be defined about what he's going to do in this term. Okay, so here's to keeping our fingers crossed. So
But let's hope
You
for the
know,
best.
yeah,
I feel the controversy around COVID is way more than what it meets the eye, because still it. I don't want to say anything negative. I don't want to comment, but it was actually said before that it's not so serious. How it looks like it's not that serious, but
I,
then we saw.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Rashmi. It wasn't serious. It spread like wildfire from everywhere. It started from that
We lost so
marketplace in
many
China. It started
people.
from that marketplace in China. Then it
I am
went.
not. You'll have to listen. I'm not saying that it wasn't serious. I'm saying the controversy around it said that it wasn't so serious. What it looked like, and um, that's what the government were also trying, because they didn't want the public to panic, so they were trying to take one step at a time. Because if they would have gone and announced things like, you have to do this, you have to do that, and it would have been very chaotic. And but of course there were lacks from his side too. I'm not defending him or anything like that. um, but yeah, I think that there's a lot to it, and I think this is a conversation for a whole another episode, and we can talk about this in some other episode, maybe not
Yeah,
now. uh, but yeah, but now that he has come back, I'm sure the Americans must have thought something and must have voted, because he has won the majority vote, popular vote, everything, right?
he has put up.
So
Um, there's an Indian called Vivek Ramaswamy on his board. Then JD Vance's wife, she's also Indian. And then what was his name?
Cash
There's
Patel.
Kash Patel is there, and he has lots of Indians on his plate all over the board. So
Mhm.
And then I think I was reading somewhere another article
I would like to
that
correct you here. They are not Indians, they are Americans.
they're
And
Indian born. Okay, okay, they
they
are
are Americans. They are
okay.
not Indians. They have their forefathers from, they must have their forefathers or their roots from India, but they are Americans first.
Okay, okay. Given they are Americans, okay,
And they
they're
are American patriots, which is why Trump actually chose them.
Right.
Right.
Otherwise, why would
yeah.
it's maybe the friendship and everything, it's going to be good for India, but it's only going to be good for India
This
till
is
the
what
time it's going to favor US. If India goes against it, if India goes against US, America, I don't think so either Vivek Ramaswamy, Kash Patel, or anybody who have their roots in India are going to help Indians or India. They are every time they are going to favor America first.
America
of
first, for
course
sure.
it's like if you're living and breathing in a country, you're eating the food of that country, you're living, you're working in that
For
country.
generations.
You have to be loyal to that country, even if you are from another country. Okay, you can't be respectful about the people and the culture of that country in all aspects. Um, I'd like to also wrap it up from my side. It's like well, I also have to get some
But thank
stuff.
you
But
so much,
thank you so
ZQ. It was
much.
No
nice.
problem,
Yeah.
no problem. I had read somewhere that Jai Bhattacharya, uh, an American born from Calcutta, he is probably going to lead. He's been chosen by Trump to head up the National Institute of Health. I don't know whether you've heard about this or not. So, so that's um,
Topic to
Update.
discuss.
another topic, another flag in Trump's hat, if you might say so. Uh, hey, I'm not saying that. Okay, Americans, but uh, Indian born. Okay, something like that, if you like.
I mean, Elon
Nothing.
Musk was born in Africa. Nobody is calling him African. Everybody calls him American. But, you know,
If you trace Donald Trump's roots himself, it probably goes to he is from his forefathers are not either from America itself. They are entire America itself is from across the ocean. Okay,
yes, exactly.
American
So
people
this is the
across the
reason,
ocean.
why people are talking about that he has hired so many Indians. They're calling them Indians. They are not Indians. They are Americans. Why is nobody calling Elon African? Because he was born in Africa. He is an American citizen, so he is
Hmm.
American. So everybody is calling him American, but other people they're calling them Indians. Guys, please, they are Americans and they are going to work for America, not for India.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. The only thing, the most burning question about uh, regarding coming back and with your topic, U.S. senators calling this. So, if they really fight against illegal immigrants, that should be something. Uh, that should be the main moot point over here. Okay, no illegal immigrants. Immigrants, you come through the legal channel. You come through the airport. You come through the. You face CBP. You face ICE and USCIS and everything. Okay, you go to the consulate. Simple as that. Why? If you are caught, then you're caught. Simple as that, and you will be deported. It's the same thing in any country. Why should it
Exactly.
be? Why should America uh, open their borders for everyone just because they are lenient? Nah, doesn't make sense. I'm glad that Trump is going to be in power, and if something good happens, then good will happen. Or else,
Or if something bad happens, then he's going to impose 100% tariffs on all the countries. Well, let's just wait for that. But as a whole, I think it's definitely going to benefit America and
yeah.
Americans.
Yeah, we all hope so.
Thanks, thanks.
Thank
Thank
you
you
Okay,
so
so much,
much,
ZQ, for
Thank you
CQ.
joining
so much,
us.
ciao,
CQ.
ciao, bye.
Thank you. So I think we had a great discussion, right, with ZQ, and we talked about very important factors, also about how paper clips are important and everything. Why America is trying to be more secure and trying to increase the security borders. So I think it was great, and I think yeah, it was lovely having everyone, Rajni, ZQ, and Napasa too. It was a very great conversation that we had today. And anything, Napasa, that you would like to share with our viewers and give a last message to them?
Well, I think, the debate over US immigration reform continues to unfold. I don't think it can be. I mean, in an hour, we can't cover or we can't discuss everything or we can't change anything as of yet. We just have to wait and watch. And, it's clear that the system definitely faces significant challenges, and so do the people in it. But the path to meaningful change remains elusive, whether it's political gridlock, outdated policies, or even entrenched interests for that matter. The question persists: is the system truly broken, or is it simply a matter of the will to fix it, or who is going to fix it even? And as lawmakers are pushing, as we saw when we covered the news in the beginning of this session, to push the reform, one thing is certain for sure: a lasting solution will require cooperation from the system and the folks out there in power also, and of course, innovation and a commitment to addressing the diverse needs of immigrants and the nation as a whole, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. That's completely, we all are agreeing with this. And to our folks also, if you still have any information or would like to know any other topic or would like to talk anything on today's topic or anything about immigration, then please feel free to drop them in the comment section. We are definitely going to take them up, and definitely we are going to, answer them in our next session as well. And yeah, I think that's all, from our side. It was lovely having you all, and we all hope to have a great day ahead. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching us Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. And that's all from our side. I'm Sam, and
Yes, absolutely, friends. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We are Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. We are on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and also on X. And it'll be great to have you, watch us, check us out, and our different content we have on our channel. And of course, join us Monday to Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Daily Immigration Dose. Thank you so much. It's yes, me, Napasa Pradhan,
me, Sam.
signing off from Immigration and Jobs Talk Show for now. Thank you.
Thank you.